Hi, welcome to the Objectworld UC Server installation demonstration video. My name is Dave Gusson. I'm a systems engineer here for Objectworld, and today we're going to be installing UC Server on Microsoft's brand new platform, Windows Small Business Server 2008. To kickstart the video, I'm going to get the installation started. Objectworld UC Server is a software product, so I'm just going to throw the DVD in here and we'll get things going. In the meantime, I'll talk a little bit about Objectworld, about UC Server, about a Microsoft story, and why we're doing this video in the first place. So I'm just going to go to the DVD, start the auto run, and we're going to install the server component. So, while this is installing, we'll talk a little bit about the company. Objectworld Communications has been in business about 10 years. We started out delivering unified messaging and voicemail capabilities for legacy PBXs. Through the years, we added different functionality, and we're at the point now where we can deliver an end-to-end, fully functioning VoIP solution for unified communications on Microsoft Windows platforms. What this includes is an array of different features, all the way from unified messaging, which means your voice and your fax messages are delivered and managed through your email inbox, like Outlook or Lotus Notes. Other things that we include are personal call control, auto attendance, service creation environment, which is a drag and drop interface for creating custom services for auto attendance and for different users. We also have an integrated fax server, voice paging, BlackBerry support, and integrations with many different Microsoft products, including Microsoft Exchange, which is what we're going to be integrating with today, Microsoft Outlook for the client experience, and Microsoft SQL Server for back-end data. So we're doing this installation video today to show you the power of the installation process, how fast it is, and how easy it is to install a product. Well, why are we showing this? Well, there's a great value in having a fast deployment for both the customer and for the solutions provider. From the perspective of the solutions provider, having a quick install means less overhead, less time out of the office, a quicker response time for your clients so that they're more satisfied in getting that solution up and running in a small amount of time. From the end user side, many of the things that I just mentioned, but also a reduction in professional services costs. Most unified communications, in all unified communication solutions today, there's the software component priced, there's the cost of the service protection and software protection, and as well as the professional services engagement to get the software installed and configured into the network. With a quick and easy install process, that cost is significantly reduced. To give you an example, we're going to be installing a 5-user system today on pretty much a regular server, 3 different phones, a switch, and it's probably going to take about 15 to 20 minutes. Now, in a regular deployment, let's say about 100 users, this kind of thing can be deployed, this solution can be deployed in about 2 days. That includes your installation, your configuration, and end user training. So while this is installing, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the network here, the topology that we have, and what I did in advance before we started installing the software. So on the desk we have a desktop workstation which is doubling as a server. It's fairly powerful. It's a Xeon processor with 4 gigabytes of RAM for Small Business Server 2008, which has Exchange Server installed on it. We also have a PoE switch here, which is driving the network, and will also provide network connectivity and power for the 3 SIP phones that are on the desk. We have a Grandstream phone, we have a Polycom phone, and a Snom phone. So as far as the operating system preparation and deployment is concerned, I had to do a couple things, not too many. I started from scratch, so I installed SBS 2008. Exchange Server is automatically installed as part of that. I created an Active Directory user account for the application server. That's going to be the service account we associate with the application server. I also set up some Active Directory users which will be associating with our UC Server users, as we have a very, very tight Active Directory integration. The users are all managed through Active Directory. You can use our user interface, or they can be managed through an MMC plugin in Active Directory. I enabled the DHCP server, set up an FTP server so that the Polycom phones can get their configuration files. I added an option to the DHCP server, option 66, so that the phones know where to get their configuration files when they boot up, which will be this machine as well, which is also going to be running a TFTP server that's installed as part of UC Server. I set up those Active Directory users and mailboxes that we're going to be using as part of the deployment. And I also ran the first part of the installation process for UC Server. Some software packages are required, and they're automatically installed as part of our installation package, and these include the Visual Studio 2005 Redistributable, SQL Server 2005, and Windows Server 2008 Enhanced Desktop features. All of those things, that entire package, those 4 different installations, takes about 15 minutes to install. I left that out in order to save a bit of time and to show the real power of the installation of the software. We've also installed Outlook on this machine because we require the MAPI DLLs in order to talk to Exchange. So now that the installation process is complete, we're going to start configuring UC Server. The configuration of the server is a wizard-style application. Step by step, you have to complete one before you go to the next, and it asks you questions about what you need, what your environment is like, IP addresses for certain things, the name of the server, and we'll go through those steps step by step, and you'll see how easy it is. So the first step is product licensing. Product licensing is the licensing of the product. So what happens is when you purchase the software, Objectworld will send you a purchase key. This purchase key is a unique identifier for your machine. Once you have the purchase key, you can enter it here, and the machine ID is also displayed here. At this point, you need to send this information to Objectworld Technical Support, who will then provide you with the license key. The license key is paired to the purchase key and the machine ID for security reasons, so you can't install the software in the same license on multiple boxes. Once you've entered this information in, it gives you a summary of what your license key entails, and this is for you to be able to verify that you have all the things that you purchased. In this case, we've enabled all the features. It is a SIP edition product. I mentioned we have 2 different other editions. There's Standard Edition, which is integrations with legacy PBXs, and an edition called CEBP, which is strictly an application server and is based on channels instead of users, and it's for driving IVR services. There's information about your service contract, so when your service contract expires for software protection, and the number of ports you have configured, how many users, all the way through text-to-speech resources, how many fax resources you have, database integration, out-dialing support, how many simultaneous SIP calls you can handle, the number of conference seats, we have a built-in conference server, presence control components, and how many live attendant licenses you have. The live attendant software is software that live attendants use for answering calls using a drag and drop GUI interface, as well as being able to see who's in the office, who's registered, and what their status is in the network. So now that the product is licensed, we can continue on. The next step is the Windows network integration. This is where UC Server is integrated into the customer's network. So we're going to pick an existing account here because I created the account in advance. The account name is called UC Service. I used the Small Business Server console to create the account, and then I added Exchange Server Exchange Server administrator privileges for that account in order for the integration to be successful. Because we're doing Exchange, we need to be able to send email on behalf of other people, and that requires Exchange administrative privileges. Service connection point step is an entry into Active Directory that clients will use to when they start up. So if client software starts, it asks Active Directory for a list of all the unified communication servers in the network. This information is in Active Directory, and this will allow clients to be able to pick a server without having to actually know what the name of the server is or the IP address of the server. And many times this can be named based on location, or if there's only one, you can call it UC Server. But if there's more than one, having a unique name that makes sense for clients, like main site or branch site, that can be entered there as well to make it obvious for those clients starting the software. So we're going to start integrating the software into the network, and in the meantime, we're going to start unpacking some phones.